y'all, I am back and I have some creepy stories about SWs, flesh pedestrians. We're not gonna say the word. It says there's 12 stories, but I can only seem to load 8 of them. And I tried it on my computer and on my phone and I can't find the other 4. So we're gonna read these 8 stories. And then after the video, I'm gonna do a little what I got for Christmas haul because I don't know, I feel like being a cheesy like 2010 YouTuber. So if you care about that, stay till the end, but we're gonna get started. This first one says, Yana Luchi is watching me. I'm probably saying that very wrong. It is Yenaldlooshi, Yenaldlooshi. My grandmother on my mother's side has always been very superstitious, for lack of a better word. She's not religious, but she does believe in a lot of the paranormal stuff. Her mother was full-blooded Navajo and her father was Irish. Either way, she had never been anywhere east of Montana and she grew up in Nevada. One year, when I was in grade school, we went to visit her. Most of the visit was pretty uneventful, typical boring old people stuff. Except she always kept her curtains drawn shut and would always peek out the window, and when someone would ask what she was doing, she would simply reply, Luchi is watching me. This went on for nearly the entire visit until a few days before we were due to leave. My grandma and my then baby brother, he's 19 now, were in the front yard that evening planting flowers when all of a sudden my grandmother starts shouting, insert little brother's name here, get away from that creature, it's not safe. Of course, being in Nevada, we all assumed that my brother found a scorpion or a rattlesnake, so we all ran outside to see my grandmother clutching my little brother and shaking in terror against the side of the house. Standing out in the yard was a large black Great Dane-sized dog. It was staring at my grandmother with an intensity I had never seen before. It looked up at us, gave a little huff, and bounded off. I don't remember if it moved unusually fast or not, but I do remember it had really deep yellow eyes. When my mother asked my grandmother what happened, she kept repeating, the Yenaldlooshi has found me. She moved a couple weeks after that. The next one says, on the reservation, alone at night. My uncle and cousin saw a large deer on the side of the road. When they got closer, it hopped over the fence like a bipedal man. One time, driving back from Gallup, my dad saw an old Navajo woman walking on the side of the road, and when he slowed down to offer her a ride, she took off into the plains quickly with inhuman speed. Once when I was a kid, my family was at my aunt's house, which is in a rural secluded area, when we were toyed with by a few entities. They would make animal noises, and when we looked to the direction from which the noises were coming from, they would turn a flashlight on and off. The noises would come from all directions in increasingly shorter succession. Usually when I'm there, on the reservation visiting, alone late at night, I feel the presence of evil and dread, panic and paranoia will wash over me, and as sudden as it comes, it will leave. Okay, this is It Moved Like a Toy Rocking Horse. I think this one's crazy. I read this one because I was nosy. My uncle is Mexican and Native American. This happened in the Mojave Desert in Southern California. He was driving around with his girlfriend late at night and they saw something that looked like a huge black dog on the side of the road. He slowed down and the dog began crossing the road. Instead of walking like a normal dog would, the thing moved like a toy rocking horse. He said it stopped in the middle of the road and stared right at them and its eyes had a red glow. My uncle is the most badass person I know and it scared the crap out of him. This one I really wanted to read, but I didn't let myself. It says they ran away on their back legs. Like, shut the fuck up. So, this happened about 12 years ago. My family owns a farm in the heart of an Indian reservation. One winter, I was home for Christmas taking care of the farm while my parents were away Christmas shopping. As I was home by myself, way late in the night, I hear our cows freaking out. I knew it had to be the wild dogs that are rampant in the area. So I throw on some boots, grab a shotgun, load it up, and head out to the field. This was a perfect scenario for a horror movie. It was cloudy, but there was a full moon, and it was breaking through the clouds just right to light up all the snow. I ran out into the middle of the field, and just in time I see 2 dogs. They were standing up, facing each other, and fighting. I think, perfect, 2 for 1. So this is kind of sad. So I pump a shell into the chamber of Mr. 12 Gauge, and then it happened. The 2 dogs heard the rack, they both stopped, looked over at me, and ran away. On their back legs. Immediately I froze, and every ghost story about SWs and all other native legends I grew up with flew through my mind. Keep in mind, I'm a white guy, and up until then, these were all just boogeyman stories the native kids like to tell to scare us. That night, they became real to me. This one I also had to stop myself from reading. It says it had a dog's body but with human hands and feet. I was spending a month with my cousins at my grandma's house. It was August, and my cousins' ages ranged from 10 to 15. I was the oldest, being 15. I was staying with a 10, 13, and 14-year-old. We stayed up telling scary stories often, but one night, a few weeks in, we decided to make a campfire out back. My grandma's house is in a rural suburb. The neighbors aren't too far when you're driving down the road to her house, but in the backyard, it's thick forest with man-made paths through it. Each house was on a hill, so only part of the basement was actually underground. This isn't important until later though. So we're towards the east side of her yard in a small patch of open land. You couldn't see the neighboring yards from there, and there was probably 3/4 of a mile to each side of us that belonged to my grandma. It was maybe 11 at night, and we were playing Truth or Dare after telling scary stories, and my 14-year-old cousin dared me and the 13-year-old to go walk through the paths for 10 minutes or so. I said yes right away, as I wasn't scared easily and rather level-headed, but my younger cousin was a bit more hesitant. We didn't bring a flashlight because it wasn't pitch dark yet, and we could see enough to not die. We were walking through the paths for about 5 minutes and could barely see the fire through the trees when we decided to turn. In the middle of the path was a large dog-like creature hunched over with its front hands an inch from the ground. What I remember most was how its eyes were so fucking bright white, and it was a humanoid dog shaped with a human-like head but a dog-like body but human hands and feet. It looked right at us, and I know I was paralyzed with fear as it dashed away the opposite way from us, towards a creek that ran through the yard. Eventually my cousin and I screamed bloody effing murder, and the other cousins and my grandma ran to us. I don't remember much here because I was really disoriented and couldn't think properly, but I did wake up in bed, so I assumed that I was brought up to the house. All of the kids slept in the basement in a big room with sliding glass doors to the outside, as the room was on the side that wasn't underground. My bed was pressed up against a big glass window, and I could see my cousins playing outside down below. The house is in Michigan, so it gets slightly chilly even in the end of August, and there was a slight breeze, so I put on a jacket and ran outside to join them, skipping breakfast, not wanting to miss out on anything fun. When I got down, I could tell they weren't playing, but rather running to get my grandma. Her dogs, both of them, were dead, ripped up. That night we went to bed early. I woke up at maybe 2 in the morning because I felt something hit my head. My cousins were all sitting on the double bed opposite of me and the other side of the room. There was 1 bunk bed and 2 double beds. The double beds for me and my 14-year-old cousin. They were being quiet and staring at me. The 13-year-old nodded his head towards the window. I froze. They all looked afraid. I turned my head slightly to the side and I saw a really messed up looking face pressed to the window with gaping eyes looking down at me. I screamed so fucking loud and it bolted. My grandma called the police after I told her what happened and they found nothing. I went home after that and I've never been there during the night again. You're lying. You're lying. Dude, that's so fucking scary. I hate it. Okay, number 6. It was neither fully human nor fully animal. In July 2004, near Gallup, New Mexico, I had my first and only encounter with an SW. Before this, I used to say, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, I'm a believer now. What I saw was not full human nor full animal. I was moving and I just completed the cleaning and was with my 10-year-old son. We had called it a night and were headed to our new place. As we walked out the front door, I saw a figure move from behind my neighbor's car to a nearby tree that stood between our apartments. It didn't have red glowing eyes, snarling teeth, or a rotten smell. It did move quickly, but not quick enough to avoid the light from a nearby light post in the porch lights. It didn't look at me or come towards me. It moved as if it was trying to avoid being seen. I was within 15 feet of it, but I did not look back to fully inspect it. What I saw was a wolf-like animal that sort of resembled the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, just not cartoonish. It had brown fur that completely covered it. It wasn't a pelt, it was a very large wolf. It didn't have any human traits except that it walked on its hind legs. It cowered behind the trees as we got into our vehicle. When we got in, I asked my son, "Did you see that?" Thankfully, he hadn't. My brother-in-law insists that it wasn't a SW because I would have never seen it. To this day, I can picture what it looked like, know they exist, and pray I never encounter one again. Okay, the Grove. This didn't happen to me, but a very close friend of mine. I've heard a lot about coyotes and SWs and had a weird experience or two with coyotes. Creepiest was waking up to my sleeping bag being surrounded in paw prints without even hearing them during the night. But never anything paranormal, so to speak. Patrick's story, however, kept me from going back to my favorite backcountry secret stash. He was leaving the area one morning, had been camping there a couple days, and said there was a coyote that always seemed to be close by. Like in his peripheral vision, but never over. He loaded up his truck and started to drive down the wash out to the fire road. At the end of the wash, he could see the coyote following him. When he pulled onto the road, it was running next to him. Now, he was freaked out, so he sped up. He said he was going 35 or so and it was running along beside him. Definitely not possible. When he looked back, the coyote was running on 2 legs and was wearing what Patrick said looked like buckskin pants. An instant later, it was a person wearing a coyote fur keeping pace with his truck. When he looked again, it was gone. We never went back to the Grove after that. That is so scary. That is so scary. Okay, and this is number 8. If I find the rest of them, I'll read them in a different video because I can't find the last 4. But number 8 says, it was like it knew we knew what it really was. I decided to join my bestie Karen for a 3-day stay at her grandmother's place on the reservation. Her grandmother lives near a place called Tuba City, Arizona, in the middle of nowhere, but surrounded by rural homes. We go to college together, and I was kind of interested to know about Navajo tradition. The first day we stayed, it was pretty chill, nothing out of the ordinary, but then her grandma, not that old, around 67, said that a stray dog came out of nowhere and wouldn't leave. To me, it did act kind of strange and ugly looking, black shaggy coat, looked like a mix between a German Shepherd and a lab. That night we were watching a movie in the living room, had big windows that looked out into the front where the cars are parked, nothing fancy, with the curtains wide open. Grandma was in the kitchen cooking dinner and we were watching a movie. Next to the window is a medium bookshelf where the DVDs are kept. Karen went to put back a DVD we had just watched, but she freaked out because that stray black dog was staring at us through the window, standing on top of the wood box outside. Not something normal dogs do from my point of view, or hers. Usually my dog, which is a house dog, scratches the door to be let in. Reservation dogs aren't house dogs, and dogs inside houses are frowned upon in Navajo tradition, meant to protect the house and owner. The other dogs seemed to stay away from it. Karen opened the door and yelled at it to get off the box. It ran off behind the shed. We went back to Tuba City to get some groceries, came back to the house. The dog was nowhere to be seen, nothing unusual. Grandma went to visit some people, so it was just Karen and I. About 5 o'clock, we heard someone trying to open the door. Both of us looked out since there had been no car heard or no dogs barking. Looking out the living room window to the door, and there was the dog trying to open the door with its paws. 2 paws wrapped around the brass doorknob, standing on its hind legs. I thought that was weird, but wasn't really freaked out. Karen was. She opened the door and chased it off. Grandma came back later and Karen told her, and Grandma did not like what she heard. Got ready to sleep. We slept in a spare bedroom since it had 2 beds. One window with curtains opened a little. We turned off the light, but there was a sound coming from on top of the roof. Pitter-patter footsteps and scratching sounds and panting. It then sounded like it jumped off onto the large plastic water barrel they had. At first, we heard what sounded like barking, but as it grew louder, the other dog seemed to be barking at something also. But all of a sudden, something was running around the house barking, and it was no dog. No, it wasn't. The barking sounded human, a deep male voice barking like it knew that we knew it wasn't a dog. Kara decided to, in my opinion was stupid, open the curtains to look out. There was the stray dog on its hind legs looking into our bedroom, but this time it stunk. And what I thought were 2 black holes in the neck, another pair of eyes twinkled. Think of those ugly glossy spider eyes staring at you. And the paws were deformed-looking hands with overgrown, somewhat thick and sharp fingernails. Again, both screaming and shutting the curtains closed, Grandma came running through the door and seeing it. First thing she did was grab ashes from the fireplace, load 3 shells into the shotgun from under her bed, blessed herself in Navajo, and went outside to shoot it, yelling in Navajo about how that thing wasn't welcome there and to get the hell out of there for it to go linger somewhere else. Then, both being traditional, the next day they called a medicine man to come over and put cedar in. He prayed over everyone with cedar smoke and an eagle feather, blessed the place, made us eat bitter herbs called eagle's gull or something, and gave me an arrowhead. Apparently I needed to carry one for protection and a little pouch called corn pollen. Seems to work pretty well. The medicine man said the dog was an SW, which in Navajo is a long word, but I call them Yoshis. The body of the stray dog, which was killed by the SW, made an illusion so we wouldn't know it was a real dog. He also said that Yoshis tend to harm people by using some sort of human bone straw to spit at someone. Think spitballs, only deadlier, and get human bones into them. Doctors can't detect it, but the medicine man that day pulled a piece of human skull out of Grandma's right shoulder. Pretty big, about 2 inches long and 1 centimeter thick. It was real because we watched him pull it out of her. That was intense. And that's the end. Like, I feel like I need to know more. Like, I feel like there's more details that you're not telling me and I need to know everything. That is so fucking scary. I'm gonna try to reload the page maybe later or tomorrow to see if the other ones will load. I don't know if it's just that they're not loading or if the title of the article is just wrong. I really don't know. But that is all for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any experiences or encounters with these flesh pedestrians, please put them on the subreddit. I find these so interesting and they're so scary though, and I live in Arizona, which makes it worse. That's why I'm like really scared of saying it. And I have so many of you tell me that it's safe to say it, nothing's gonna happen, but then so many of you tell me not to say it, so I'm gonna stick with not saying it. I'm just gonna say SW, flesh pedestrian, whatever comes to my little brain. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm gonna go. I will have the article linked down below. But I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Time for a Christmas haul! My camera's gonna die. I don't have much time. Okay, we're just gonna do this really fast. So one of my favorite things I got, this is like the cutest thing in the entire world, is a little mini Timo. It's a little baby Timo. He's a little like what is this called? Crocheted Timo. Oh my god, look how cute he is. I love him with my whole heart and soul. And then my sister got me a sweatshirt that was like, it says Nike, but the I was a knife and it was Michael Myers. I already wore it, so it's dirty. And then my mom got me a Ouija board sweatshirt, and I was like, Mom, this is kind of scary. But I was like, whatever, I'll take it. I'll probably wear it. Then my mom got me a Christmas advent calendar of socks, cat socks. I've already worn these too. I've worn 2 pairs of them. They're beautiful, and I love them so much. This is like the most adult thing in the entire world, but this is also one of my favorite things I got. I got these soaps, and I think they're beautiful, and I have one of these already in my guest bathroom and in my bathroom. But I love the way that they look, and my mom got me a pack of 4. And because my sister opened up these same ones, and I was like, oh my god, I have those. And my mom goes, you do? And then I opened it up, and I was like, wait, but I love them because I'll use these. I will totally use these. I'm out of breath. I think they're beautiful. I love them. I got a scarf. I got a makeup eraser. I got some candy. I got some popcorn. I got this like cat little like notebook thing. I love my mom. Some slippers, like Grinch slippers, and these slippers. And a jade roller, and my mom got me scratch offs. What are these called? I didn't win any money, but I got them anyways, and I had fun doing them. What are they called? Like they're like gambling things. I don't know. I've never done them before. Little bath bombs that look like eggs, and I got makeup brush holders, candles, a mug that says Cat Mom. I have too many mugs that say cat things on them, but whatever. Oh my gosh, and my mom got me this blanket, which I'm so excited. It's from Target. I have one blanket for my couch, and it has holes all over it because it's like a knitted blanket, so it's not very warm. And so I got this, and I'm like, oh, God bless. And then my little sister got me Carhartt overalls, which I really, really, really wanted. I'm so excited. They're black. They're long, like long pants. And they're black. They're beautiful. I love them so much. And I would show you them, but they're not here. They're not in the vicinity, and my camera's gonna die. So I think I'm gonna go. But yeah. We love you. We love you so much. Oh my god, little baby Weems. Weems is like my favorite. I love all my cats the same, but I do have a favorite because he's my little baby boy. I don't know why I just fixed my bangs just to put them back behind my ears. Don't talk about it. But okay, I'm gonna go. I'm out of breath from that speed run, and Weems is trying to get into one of the bags, so I'm gonna leave. See ya.